Shalom. We've been talking about the shoes that the brother of Yosef bought with the money they sold Yosef. We explained that the shoes, it's like to reinforce the excuse why we sold him.
Reinforce.
To reinforce, to say it's not our fault. How we reinforce this concept that this is not our fault.
Sounds like an excuse.
We put in our education what we said that the shoes is the secret of the education, how much he was a bad person. So now this become part of our general education. So what I like to do today is to analyze these shoes, this education, everything that it is written in the Gemara about Yeshua. And we will see that our sages wrote everything in a way that it will be, for who will learn it deep, it will be very easy to fix it. It means the shoes, what it means lock, is not lock like the way it is. So most of the people, the way they will read the Gemara, they will understand it in a way that really it's lock. And it's better for them because sometimes you must to put limits for what is good and what is not right. So first of all, why, another reason why they must to buy shoes with this money. It's not just as excuse that I'm not guilty. It's not only this. It is a good reason. In the moment they did God from Jesus, from Yeshua,
They made God.
in the moment they go in the nation, make God from him, idolatry, if I will say that he was good, I will give force, I will give power to the evil force. So they are right. He's good, he teaches us good thing, right? So I'm right, you know. So the evil become more evil. You give more power. So what we do? Because in the moment it's a false God, I must to laugh about him. I must to say bad thing about the false God. I have no choice. So in one way, I have to say bad thing about Jesus, but in another way, I say that probably it's not so much his fault. Somewhere I understand it that he was not such a bad guy, because if he has such a great influence to the nation, he must to be somebody very important. Alright, so how you play with these two opposite
Conceptions.
Way to react to what's happened. Because what done, it's done already. We did the sin. Now if we will say that he was right, it means all the idolatry is right too. This is the way the evil force will understand it.
But he never claimed his God.
And we have to very be careful that more Jewish not go to the other side too.
But Yeshua never claimed his God.
I know. Let's say about this subject that he give an answer to the accusation that why you make yourself God. It means you can be wrong about him that he make himself God, because this is a fact that people make from him God. It means there can be mistake about this. But he give an answer what for the Jewish is a very good answer. No problem with this answer. But for the nation, this answer, we find it as a fact that it didn't work. Because what was his answer? His answer about why you make yourself God, he said you are all God. And you are all son of God. The two concepts. So in the moment you understand that you are all God and you are all son of God, I don't have to excuse that I make myself God, because we are all God. Alright, so this is the right answer, and this is exactly the rectification for all the nation for the fact that they make from him idolatry. In the moment they understand that you are all God, who is God? The people that receive the word of God, it means all the Jewish. This is what he said. He talked to the Jewish there.
At that time.
Alright, so every no Jewish as well, in potential, he has the word of God. So, in the moment you, all the nation, understand that you are all God and Son of God, the two concepts of body and soul, like we explained many times, it's no problem. Alright, so this was, by the way, we repeat this thing because it's very important. People complain to me in the Facebook. I teach so many complicated things, and the main thing that I should teach them is the problem of idolatry. Why I don't teach them this more? Alright, so I say this many times, so I say this another time. In the moment everybody understands that you are all God, no problem. You can make peace with the Judaism. The Judaism can receive Christianity. In the moment you make him God, Christianity will keep laughing about this God. They have no choice. They will spit on it, etc. They will continue all these things that mean that he was a bad guy. So we have to understand that when in our learning we say bad thing about this, it's not really, we have historical, remember what really was the story. We don't have a memory really what happened there. This happened 300, the Gemara was writing between 300 and 600 after Jesus, 300, 600 years after Jesus. So there are many proofs that really our sages don't have a memory of the story. For example, they call his mother Miriam Magdalene. This was not his mother, this was his disciple. Right? All kind of, there are many mistakes. They will say, for example, it is a story that 40 years before he was supposed to be killed in Pesach, they search to see if it is anybody that will say a good word about him. What you call nekudot zchut. Maybe he's right.
Positive things.
Yeah, positive thing. So this is against the Torah for two reasons. By the law of the Torah, in the moment he is accused of being Mesitu Mediach, the way that it is written that he was accused.
Means what?
Mesitu Mediach, it means somebody that convinces you to believe in another God. In the moment somebody does this kind of sin, you don't have to search for good reason, do not punish him. And another reason, in the moment somebody is decides that he has to be dead, you are not allowed to hold him alive just to make him wait, because it's called Inui Adin. Just make him suffering for 40 days. It's against the Torah too. So they ask in the same place that they say that for 40 days, besides that it's against the stories that we have in the New Testament, they ask how they did something like this? Because it's against the law of the Torah. And then they said, well, because he was close to the kingdom of Rome. He was friend with the Rome. Jesus, he was friend of the Rome. He had never any connection with the Rome. He became something Rome after the death of Jesus. Right? So we can see very clearly that our sages don't have a historical memory of really what happened there. Then probably was something that somebody did a mistake, but now how we correct it. Alright, so the only way now we can correct it is just to say that he was bad guy, but the way we will say it, we will be careful. Every time, for example, it is written that Yeshua was מסית ומדיח והוא הטעה את ישראל, it's a phrase that came a few times in the Gemara. They say אמר מר. Who is מר? It's like a title, מר. It's like he will say, somebody said. מר יקרא עמלק in Gibetia. So Amalek said, he was so and so and so. It is not written there, the rabbi, this and this say. The rabbi so and so said so.
No one took responsibility.
Somebody said. Somebody said. Right. You see that they're very careful what they said.
Like rumors.
And this is like it says that it's out of the story they said that. It is a story. And besides it's like somebody like Automax say a phrase, but when he said it, like somebody that editing, when he say Amar, say somebody. Right? So it's important to put attention to all the story.
Pay attention.
Now, another way, Am Yisrael is in exile. Now, it's very dangerous to talk bad about Yeshua, to make upset the nation. We don't suppose to make them upset, we have to be nice with them. This by the law of the Gemara, of the Torah. Alright? We are guests in our nation, we have to be nice. Alright, so another way to do it, to talk about Jesus and to show that really we don't talk about Jesus, is to change the story in a way that you will say, well, we don't talk about Jesus because this happened 130 years before the time of Jesus. This cannot be Jesus. Or another story, well, this happened 100 years after Jesus, so it cannot be Jesus. In one place they put a story that really have to do with something that happened 130 years after Jesus, and after you put a story that happened maybe between 50 to 100 years after Jesus. So, and both in the same book, both in the same Gemara. What's going on? You could not be careful more what you write. Alright, so it's like sometimes the things are so much written in a way that everybody can say that it cannot be true, that you say to yourself, they did it by purpose.
In purpose.
So when it will be the time,
so they'll understand it was just
when it will
rumors.
be the time, when the pig will be kosher, etc., when it will be the time, it will be no problem to take the shoes out. It will be less difficult to fix it. Alright? Because everybody
to disconnect those stories from Yeshua.
Yeah, all the story about Yeshua, when it will be the time. Right now he serves. He serves to keep Am Yisrael against Christianity. Right now we need it.
For separation.
But it is written in a way that really, if we learn it well,
does make sense.
It don't make sense at all. Alright? From any point of view you will look, it doesn't make sense. And sometimes not only it don't make sense, it is a story that if you understand it well, from this story, he didn't did anything bad in this story. And our sages said in the end of the story, it's our fault. It's not the fault of Jesus. It's our fault. They say it in the Gemara.
Our fault about
All right?
the story of Jesus.
All right, so we have to understand it that our sages don't try to teach us story, the way exactly happened the thing. They try to teach us arachim, they teach us value, idea. All right, so for this they change the story because for the kind of message that they want to tell us. All right, so I start with the first story that appear in the book of Maseret Sanhedrin. I think the page 107. Yes, the second page of 107. The story go like this, and the story appear in the time of Yanai.
What time was then?
It's mean, like I said, maybe 130 years before the time of Jesus.
Before.
Yanai, he was the king that Ordus was still a slave in his house. So it is a story that we can remind the story that was about Jesus, that because Ordus he ran to Egypt, but here because Yanai, the Chachamim of this time, it was really like this, they ran to Egypt because Yanai in period of his kingdom, he was killing the Chachamim, the Pushim, one of the Hashmonaim kings. But because he was married with Shlomo Malka, that she was her brother was Shimon. Her brother was Shimon ben Shetach, one of the important Chachamim. She succeeded finally to make peace between him and the Chachamim. But it was time that really was dangerous here. So because this, Yeshua ben Prachia ran out of Israel, go to Egypt with his disciple Yeshua. They ran away. Now when the danger was finished, so Shimon ben Shetach write a letter to Yeshua ben Prachia to tell him that you can come back. He writes him a very nice letter. For me, Jerusalem, the holy city, to you, Alexandria of Egypt, my sister, my husband, it means the rabbi, the big rabbi, Yeshua ben Prachia, is inside of you and I'm sitting alone. It means like Eretz Israel, it's like the woman and the big rabbi is my husband, so we need you, the rabbi. So, right, so they come back, and in the way back, they go to a hotel, called Arsania. They go to a hotel, and Yeshua ben Prachia, is a little bit kind of too proud of himself,
Proud.
A little bit too happy. Feel a little bit too good. Because they call him, to lead Am Israel, also he feel a little bit too good. And
full of himself.
Yeah. Zacha dato, like we say, the chest, the chazeh, zacha, become a little bit too
overly proud.
Too proud, too full of air.
Himself.
So Yeshua ben Prachia said to his disciple, to Yeshua, what a beautiful hotel.